Commander Zaxis stared at his screen in shock. His blue hands shook as he touched the controls again and again. The numbers could not be real. "Check the sensors," he shouted to his crew. "Something is wrong with our machines." The young alien officer looked up from his station. His 4 eyes were wide with fear. "Sir, I have checked 3 times. The readings are correct. There are ships coming. Many ships." Zaxis felt cold fear run down his spine. In all his years serving the Galactic Defense Force, he had never seen anything like this. The enemy fleet was massive. Hundreds of ships moved through space like silent hunters. Where did they come from? Zaxis whispered. Our deep space station saw nothing. They appeared from nowhere. On the main screen, the unknown ships grew larger. They were black as the void of space. No lights, no signals. Just darkness moving toward them like death itself. "Sir," the communications officer called out. "I am trying to contact them. They do not answer our calls." Zaxis grabbed his command chair. His heart was beating fast. In his 50 years of military service, he had seen many enemies. Pirates, rebels, even the feared Shadow Raiders. But this was different. These ships moved with purpose. They knew exactly where they were going. "Send a message to High Command," Zaxis ordered. "Tell them we have unknown ships approaching the Kepler system. Request immediate backup." The communications officer worked quickly. After a moment, his face turned pale. "Sir, High Command says our message makes no sense. They say the Kepler system was destroyed 3,500 years ago. Nothing lives there anymore." Zaxis felt his blood turn to ice. The Kepler system. That was the old name for the system that once held Earth, the home world of the humans. But the humans were extinct. Everyone knew that. The history books were clear. 3,500 years ago, the mighty Zephyrian Empire had burned Earth to ashes. Every human city was destroyed. Every human ship was hunted down and destroyed. Not one human had survived. The galaxy had celebrated the end of the most dangerous species ever known. "Pull up the old war records," Zaxis said with a shaking voice. The computer screen filled with ancient data. Images of Earth's last days appeared. Cities burning, ships exploding in space. The final message from the human government. "We will not forget. We will not forgive. We will return." But they never did return. The humans were gone forever. Or so everyone believed. "Sir," the sensor officer screamed. "The ships are powering up weapons." Zaxis looked at the screen. The black ships were still far away, but their weapons were like nothing he had ever seen. Energy readings showed power levels that seemed impossible. "What kind of weapons are those?" Zaxis asked. "I don't know, sir. Our computers cannot identify them. The technology is completely unknown." Suddenly, every screen in the command center went black. Then slowly, words appeared in glowing white letters. "We are humanity. We have returned." The bridge fell silent. Every alien officer stared at the screens in terror. The words hung there like a death sentence. Zaxis could barely speak. "That's impossible. Humans are extinct. We made sure of that." The words changed. "You destroyed our world. You killed our people. Now we have come for justice." "Sir," the communications officer whispered, "this message is being broadcast across the entire galaxy. Every ship, every station, every planet is receiving it. On distant worlds, alien families stopped eating dinner to stare at their screens. In government buildings, alien leaders called emergency meetings. In military bases, soldiers loaded their weapons with shaking hands. The message continued. To the Zephyrian Empire, you have 3 days to surrender the ones who burned Earth. If you do not, we will come and take them. Zaxis watched his crew in silence. Some were crying. Others were praying to their gods. All of them understood what this meant. The humans had survived. Somehow, somewhere in the dark corners of space, they had lived. They had grown strong, and now they wanted revenge. "Sir, what should we do?" asked the young officer. Before Zaxis could answer, new readings appeared on the sensors. The human fleet was moving again. Not toward them, but toward the inner systems, toward the worlds where Zephyrians lived. The last message appeared on the screens. "The hunt begins now. Hide if you can, run if you must, but know this. We remember everything, and we are no longer the same species you destroyed." Then the screens went dark. The human ships disappeared into jump space, leaving only silence and fear behind. Zaxis sat down heavily in his chair. After 3,500 years of peace, the most dangerous species in the galaxy had returned. And this time they were angry. In the distance, emergency sirens began to sound on every world. The age of humanity's revenge had begun. Emperor Vorthak slammed his fist on the golden table. The emergency meeting had been going on for 6 hours. Around him, the greatest leaders of the Zephyrian Empire sat in fear. How did they survive? He roared. Our records show complete destruction. Every human world was burned. Every human ship was destroyed. General Krex, the old war veteran, spoke with a trembling voice. My Emperor, I was there during the final battle. I saw Earth burn with my own eyes. No one could have escaped. Yet here they are. Emperor Vorthak pointed at the holographic display. It showed human ships attacking Zephyrian colonies across 3 different star systems. Look at this. They are hunting us like animals. The display changed to show the first attack. A small Zephyrian mining colony had been completely destroyed. But the strange thing was how it happened. The human ships appeared from nowhere, destroyed. Only military targets, and vanished before help could arrive. They did not kill civilians, noted Admiral Thys. Only our soldiers and defense systems were attacked. They could have destroyed everyone, but they chose not to. Emperor Vorthak's red eyes blazed with anger. They show mercy to innocents, but hunt us like we are criminals. What gives them this right? Perhaps, whispered Councillor Yelm. Perhaps we are the criminals in this story. The room fell silent. No one dared to speak such words, but everyone was thinking them. The humans had never attacked anyone first. They had been peaceful explorers and traders. The Zephyrian Empire had destroyed them because they were afraid of human technology and growth. Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the palace. A communications officer ran into the room, his face pale with terror. My Emperor, they are here. Human ships have appeared above the capital. Everyone rushed to the windows. In the sky above their city, massive black ships hovered silently. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. No sound came from them, no weapons fired. They just waited. Then the ships began broadcasting a message. The voice was calm, cold, and completely human. People of Zephyrus Prime, we are humanity. We have returned to collect those who destroyed our world. We do not wish to harm innocent civilians. Clear the streets and stay in your homes. Emperor Vorthak watched in horror as his people obeyed. Millions of Zephyrians ran to their houses and locked their doors. They were terrified, but they also seemed to understand that the humans would keep their promise of safety. Small human ships began landing in the city. The doors opened and human soldiers stepped out. Emperor Vorthak could not believe his eyes. These were not the humans from the history books. They were taller, stronger, and moved with perfect coordination. Their armor was black and advanced beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. What have they become? Whispered General Krex. The humans walked through the streets calmly. Zephyrian police tried to stop them, but their weapons had no effect on human armor. The humans did not kill the police. Instead, they simply walked past them as if they were children playing with toys. Sir! A guard shouted into his communicator. The humans are not fighting back. They are just walking toward the government district. Our weapons cannot hurt them. Emperor Vorthak felt sweat running down his face. Activate the planetary defense. Grid, kill them all. Sir, the defense grid is not responding. They have taken control of our systems. On the streets below, the human soldiers continued their march. Citizens watched from their windows in amazement. The humans did not break anything. They did not steal anything. They did not hurt anyone who stayed out of their way. One small Zephyrian child ran into the street, having escaped from his mother. A human soldier knelt down and gently guided the child back to safety. The mother watched in shock as the terrible enemy showed kindness to her son. Soon the human soldiers reached the palace. They walked through the main gates without effort. The Emperor's guards tried to stop them, but it was useless. The humans moved through the palace like ghosts, searching for something specific. Finally, they reached the throne room. The doors exploded inward, and 10 human soldiers entered. Behind them walked a tall human woman with silver hair and cold blue eyes. She wore no helmet, and her face showed no emotion. "I am Commander Sarah Chen," she said in perfect Zephyrian language. "I represent the Human Colonial Defense Force. We are here to collect war criminals." Emperor Vorthak tried to look brave, but his voice shook. "You have no right. That war was 3,500 years ago. Everyone from that time is dead." Commander Chen smiled, but her eyes stayed cold. "Not everyone, Emperor. We found some very interesting people hiding in your deep space stations, old soldiers who like to brag about burning human children." She held up a small device. Holographic images appeared, showing elderly Zephyrians talking and laughing about the destruction of Earth. Their own words condemned them. General Vex, Admiral Scar, and 12 others. They are all still alive, kept young by your technology. They still laugh about killing billions of innocent humans. Emperor Vorthak felt his courage disappear. "What do you want?" Commander Chen stepped closer. "Give us the ones who burned our world. Do this, and your empire can continue to exist. Refuse, and we will hunt every single one of them down. Your choice." The Emperor looked around the room. His advisors avoided his eyes. No one wanted to fight these new humans. They were too powerful, too advanced, too determined. "You have 1 hour to decide," Commander Chen said. "Choose wisely. This is the only mercy you will receive." As the humans left the throne room, Emperor Vorthak collapsed into his chair. The hunt had begun, and they were the prey. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood in the museum of her ship, looking at the last piece of Earth. It was a small rock, no bigger than her hand, but it was all that remained of humanity's homeworld. "Tell me the story again, grandmother," said young Marcus, her great-grandson. He was only 12 years old, but like all children born in the void, he was strong and smart beyond his years. Elena smiled sadly and began the tale that every human child learned by heart. 3,500 years ago, our world was beautiful. Earth had blue oceans and green forests. 7 billion humans lived there in peace. But the Zephyrians were afraid of us. They saw how fast we learned, how quickly we grew strong, so they decided to end us forever. She touched a control panel, and holographic images filled the room. Earth appeared as it once was, a blue jewel floating in space. Our leaders knew the attack was coming. The Zephyrian war fleet was massive. We could not win a direct fight, so they made a hard choice. Operation Exodus would save only a few, so that someday humanity could return. The images changed to show the final battle. Earth's defense fleet fought bravely, but they were losing. In secret, evacuation ships launched from hidden bases around the world. 50,000 humans escaped on 12 ships. Your great-great-grandmother was one of them. She was only 5 years old, but she remembered Earth burning as they flew away. Marcus watched the images with wide eyes. "What happened next, grandmother?" Elena's face grew serious. "We flew into the dark places between stars, places where no one would look for us. We were lost, scared, and angry. Many wanted to give up. But Captain Morrison said something that changed everything." She played an old recording. A man's voice filled the room, strong and determined. "We are the last humans in the universe. We carry the memory of 7 billion souls. We will not let them be forgotten. We will grow strong. We will return. And we will make sure this never happens to anyone else ever again." "The first years were terrible," Elena continued. "We lived in crowded ships, eating recycled food, breathing recycled air. Many died. But we survived because we had purpose. We were not just trying to live. We were preparing for war." The holographic display showed the human fleet in the early days. 12 small ships, damaged and desperate. But over the years they changed, they grew. We found something amazing in the void between galaxies. Ancient ruins from a civilization that died millions of years ago. The Makers, we called them. Their technology was beyond anything we had ever imagined. Marcus leaned forward. "What kind of technology?" "Ships that could repair themselves. computers that could learn and grow, weapons that could bend space and time, medical systems that could make humans stronger, faster, smarter. The makers left everything behind, waiting for someone worthy to find it. Elena showed images of humans working with strange alien machines. They were learning, adapting, becoming something new. We studied for 1,000 years. Every human became a scientist, an engineer, a warrior. We had no choice. We were too few to waste any talent. Children learned to fly starships before they could walk properly. Teenagers designed new weapons. Adults built cities inside asteroids. But how did we stay hidden? Marcus asked. The void between galaxies is vast and dark. We built our new civilization in places where no one would ever look. Dead stars, empty space, the shadows between worlds. We became masters of stealth and silence. The images showed massive human cities built inside asteroids and dead planets. Millions of ships floating in perfect formation. Children playing in artificial forests while their parents worked on weapons of incredible power. We grew from 50,000 to 50 million. Every human was born knowing their purpose. Return to the galaxy and protect the innocent from what happened to us. Elena paused and looked at her great-grandson. But revenge was not enough. We learned that the Zephyrians had destroyed other worlds too. The Kalari system, the Mentis colonies, the peaceful traders of Xerion. Billions of innocent people died because empires like the Zephyrians believe might makes right. So we became something more than human? Marcus asked. We became what humanity was always meant to be. Protectors, guardians. We enhanced our bodies to be stronger. We expanded our minds to think faster. But most importantly, we never forgot who we used to be. We are still human at heart. We still love. We still show mercy. We still protect children. Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the ship. Elena looked at her communication device. Grandmother, what's happening? Marcus asked. Elena's eyes grew bright with determination. The hunt is complete. We found all the war criminals. But now we have learned something new. The Zephyrians have a secret fortress where their highest leaders hide. The ones who gave the order to destroy Earth. She knelt down and held Marcus's hands. The final battle is about to begin. Are you ready to see justice done? Marcus nodded, his young face serious. For Earth, for all the innocent people they killed. For Earth, Elena agreed. And for the future we will build from its ashes. Above them, the human fleet prepared for the most important battle in 3,500 years. The children of Earth had returned, and they were ready to finish what their enemies had started. Admiral Thane gripped his command chair as the massive space station shook under enemy fire. The Void Fortress was the most powerful military base in the galaxy. 5 great alien empires had joined together to protect it. Surely the humans could not win against such power. Status report. Thane shouted over the sound of explosions. Sir, we have over 2,000 ships defending the fortress. The Zephyrians, Corthan Empire, Shadow Legion, Crystal Worlds, and Iron Clans have all sent their best fleets. The humans only have 300 ships. Admiral Thane smiled with relief. 300 against 2,000. They are brave, but they are fools. This battle will end quickly. On the main screen, the human fleet approached slowly. Their black ships moved in perfect formation, like a school of deadly fish swimming through space. They looked small compared to the massive alien armada waiting for them. Open fire, Admiral Thane commanded. Destroy them all. The sky exploded with laser beams and missile trails. 2,000 alien ships fired everything they had at the approaching humans. Space itself seemed to burn with the fury of their weapons. But when the smoke cleared, Admiral Thane's smile disappeared. The human ships were still there. Not one had been destroyed. Their shields glowed with strange energy that seemed to absorb all attacks. That's impossible, shouted the weapons officer. Our scanners show direct hits. They should be destroyed. Suddenly, the human ships began to change. Their black hulls split open, revealing new weapons and systems. Some ships grew larger. Others split into smaller, faster vessels. It was like watching metal flowers bloom in the darkness of space. What kind of technology is this? Admiral Thane whispered. The answer came quickly. The human fleet struck back with weapons unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Beams of pure energy that could bend around shields. Missiles that could think and adapt. Torpedoes that opened holes in space itself. In minutes, hundreds of alien ships were destroyed or disabled. The great armada that had seemed so powerful was being torn apart by a much smaller human force. "They're not fighting like normal ships," the tactical officer screamed. "Their vessels are learning from our attacks and adapting. Every time we fire, they become stronger." On the bridge of the human flagship, Commander Sarah Chen watched the battle with calm eyes. This was what humanity had prepared for during 3,500 years in the void. Every human child learned to pilot ships that could think and change. Every human warrior trained with weapons that could evolve during combat. "Status report," she said quietly. "Enemy fleet is down to 60% strength. Our casualties are 0. The fortress is attempting to activate its ultimate weapon." Chen nodded. "Let them try. It's time to show them what we really are." Back on the Void Fortress, Admiral Thane was in panic. "Activate the Starkiller." "Charge the main cannon!" The massive space station began to glow as its ultimate weapon prepared to fire. The Starkiller had the power to destroy entire solar systems. It had never been used in combat, but desperate times called for desperate measures. "Target the human flagship." "Full power!" The Starkiller fired. A beam of pure destruction lanced through space toward the human command ship. But instead of dodging, the human vessel flew directly into the beam. "They're committing suicide!" Admiral Thane laughed. "Fools!" But his laughter died as he watched the impossible. The human ship absorbed the Starkiller's energy, grew brighter, and then fired it back at the fortress. The redirected beams smashed through the station's shields like they were made of paper. "How is this possible?" Thane screamed. The answer came from the human flagship. Commander Chen's voice echoed across all communication channels. "We learned from the Makers, Admiral. We became one with our technology. We are not just humans in ships. We are something new, something you cannot understand." Human boarding pods launched from the fleet, but these were not normal assault vehicles. They moved through space like living things, changing shape to avoid defenses, adapting to overcome obstacles. They crashed through the fortress walls and opened like metal flowers. Human soldiers emerged, but they too had changed. Their armor was part of them now. Their weapons were extensions of their will. They moved through the station corridors like ghosts, unstoppable and terrifying. Admiral Thane tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The human soldiers found him in his command center, cowering behind his chair. But the leader who entered was not what he expected. It was a young human woman, barely 20 years old. Her eyes glowed with inner light and her voice was gentle but firm. "Admiral Thane," she said. "I am Captain Lisa Zhang. We are here for Emperor Malthus and his war council. Where are they hiding?" Thane's voice shook. They're in the deep vault, level 50, behind the quantum locks. But you'll never get through the defenses." Captain Zhang smiled sadly. "Admiral, we have become something beyond your understanding. Your defenses were built to stop the humans who died 3,500 years ago. We are their children, and we are so much more." She turned to her soldiers. "Take him to safety. He was not part of the Earth genocide." As they moved through the station, Admiral Thane watched in amazement. The humans were not destroying everything in their path. They were carefully avoiding civilian areas and protecting non-combatants. Finally, they reached the deep vault. The massive doors were sealed with technology from 6 different empires. It should have taken days to break through. Captain Zhang placed her hand on the door. Her armor glowed and the locks began to open one by one. "That's impossible," Thane whispered. "Nothing is impossible," Zhang replied, "when you carry the dreams of 7 billion dead souls." The doors opened, revealing a luxurious chamber where Emperor Malthus and his war council waited. The old Zephyrian leader looked up with hatred in his ancient eyes. "So the insects return," he snarled. "You should have stayed extinct." Captain Zhang stepped forward, her young face serious. "Emperor Malthus, you are under arrest for genocide, crimes against sentient beings, and the destruction of peaceful worlds." Malthus laughed. "You think you have won? This fortress was just a distraction. While you wasted time here, my true fleet is heading to destroy your hidden colonies. Soon you will be extinct again, and this time forever." Zhang's eyes grew bright with new anger. Behind her, every human soldier's armor began to glow. "What hidden colonies?" Malthus asked, suddenly confused by their reaction. "You fool," Zhang whispered. "We are the colonies. Every human child you see is a warrior. Every human city is a fortress. You have not found our hiding places. You have walked into our trap." The Emperor's face went pale as he realized the truth. The humans had not been hiding. They had been hunting, and now he was caught. Emperor Malthus felt his confidence crumble as Captain Zhang's words sank in. Around the chamber, human soldiers stood like silent guardians, their armor glowing with power he could not understand. "What do you mean we walked into your trap?" Malthus demanded, though his voice was no longer strong. Zhang touched a device on her wrist and holographic displays filled the room. The images showed space battles happening across the galaxy. But these were not the battles Malthus expected. "Your secret fleet attacked what you thought were our hidden colonies," Zhang explained calmly. "But those were not our homes, Emperor. Those were our forward bases, manned by volunteers who knew this day would come." The displays showed Zephyrian ships attacking small human outposts. But as soon as they opened fire, massive human fleets appeared from nowhere, surrounding the attackers completely. Every base you attacked was a trap. Every colony you thought you found was bait. While your ships were busy destroying empty buildings, our real fleets moved into position around your homeworlds. Malthus watched in horror as the truth became clear. His armies were scattered across the galaxy, attacking targets that did not matter. Meanwhile, human ships surrounded every major Zephyrian world. "You see, Emperor, we learned something important during our 3,500 years in the void. Revenge is not enough. Justice must be complete, but it must also be fair." Zhang gestured, and the displays changed to show something that shocked everyone in the room. Human ships were not attacking civilian targets. Instead, they were protecting them. "What is this?" Malthus whispered. "We found records of all the worlds your empire destroyed over the centuries. Not just Earth, but hundreds of others. The peaceful Kalari with their beautiful music. The wise Mentis who never hurt anyone. The trading people of Zerion who only wanted to share their knowledge." The images showed ruins of dead civilizations. Billions of innocent lives lost to Zephyrian conquest and cruelty. Billions of souls cry out for justice, Emperor. But we are not like you. We do not punish the innocent for the crimes of their leaders. Admiral Thane, who had been silent until now, found his voice. "Then what will you do with us?" Captain Zhang turned to him with sad but determined eyes. "Admiral, you were not part of the genocide. You and millions like you were born long after those crimes. You do not deserve to die for what your ancestors did." She walked to the center of the room, and her voice became strong and clear. "Emperor Malthus, you and your war council are guilty of crimes against all sentient life. But we will not become monsters to defeat monsters. You will not be executed." Malthus looked confused. "Then what?" "You will live. But your empire is finished. Your military technology will be removed. Your weapons of mass destruction will be destroyed. Your ability to harm others will end forever." Zhang touched her device again, and new images appeared. Human ships were carefully removing weapons from Zephyrian vessels. They were not destroying the ships, just making sure they could never again be used for conquest. Your people will be free to live, to trade, to explore the galaxy in peace, but they will never again have the power to destroy entire civilizations. "And what about us?" asked General Vex, one of the War Council members who had personally commanded the destruction of Earth. Zhang's expression grew cold. "You, General, and the others who gave orders to burn worlds full of children will face justice. You will spend the rest of your very long lives rebuilding what you destroyed. Every day you will work to create life instead of ending it." The general laughed bitterly. "And if we refuse? Then you will sit in a cell and think about the billions you killed until time itself ends. Your choice." Emperor Malthus fell to his knees, finally understanding that his empire's age of terror was over. "What gives you the right to judge us?" Captain Zhang knelt beside him, her voice gentle but firm. "The right of every child who died screaming in your attacks. The right of every mother who watched her world burn. The right of every father who could not protect his family from your cruelty." She stood and addressed the room. "But most importantly, the responsibility of the strong to protect the weak. We learned that lesson when Earth died. We will never forget it." The displays changed one final time, showing something beautiful. Human ships were helping other alien races rebuild destroyed worlds. They were sharing technology, providing protection, teaching others to defend themselves. "This is our new purpose," Zhang announced. "We are the Guardians now. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. We ensure that what happened to Earth never happens again to anyone." Months later, the galaxy had changed completely. The Zephyrian Empire was gone. replaced by peaceful worlds that traded instead of conquered. The war criminals worked every day to rebuild ruined civilizations, watched over by human guards who showed them mercy they had never deserved. In the Outer Rim, human engineers were building something magnificent. A new world, green and blue like Earth had been. Children of many species played together in artificial forests, while their parents worked on the project of bringing life to dead soil. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on the observation deck of the construction station, watching the new world grow. Her great-grandson Marcus, now older and wiser, stood beside her. "Will we call it New Earth?" he asked. Elena smiled and shook her head. "No, child. We will call it Hope, because that is what it represents. Hope for a future where children of all species can grow up in peace." Above them, the human fleet patrolled silently, no longer hunters but protectors. The galaxy was safe at last. The age of humanity's revenge was over. The age of humanity's guardianship had begun. And in the deepest archives of every human ship, the last message from Earth was finally answered. We did not forget. We did not forgive, but most importantly, we did return, and we made sure it will never happen again. The children of Earth were home at last.